Greetings, everybody. Here we are in the middle of the holiday season between Hanukkah, solstice, Christmas, and New Year's coming up. And I have a special guest this evening, uh, Daniel Lumanauw, who is originally from Indonesia and is a serious student of the mysteries, spirituality, a Buddhist by faith, and student, like myself, of the so-called Ageless Wisdom. And welcome to the Substack.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy holidays to you.
Happy holiday.
Yeah, right. So you have just not too long ago returned from a very interesting journey to one of the last places on earth that people used to go to. Outer Mongolia, we used to call it. It's just called Mongolia now, the People's Republic, I think, of Mongolia. And a fascinating place, the birthplace of Genghis Khan, who created the biggest empire the world has ever known back in 1200, was it? Something like that. Long time ago. And a country that also, like Tibet, accepted the Buddhist teachings quite early on and combined it a little bit with their own shamanic
Yep.
spirituality, I guess you'd call it, sort of like our indigenous people in North America, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a fascinating, a little bit syncretic, especially in Tibet. But anyway, I once went to Mongolia myself in 1987, so I remember I had a little conversation with you a year ago, or 10 months, and you were talking about the possibilities that you had been on a bit of a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash. In is that in Tibet or Nepal or
Yeah, Tibet.
Tibet itself? Yeah, Mount
Yeah.
Kailash. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
you were hot on the trail of visiting certain areas in the Gobi Desert. So why don't you just share a little bit of your journey? Because I know there were certain steps you had mentioned. You met certain people when you were in New York City. They had sent you on to somebody
Yeah.
else, and you were sort of connecting the dots. And it was
Yeah.
quite, as it opened up for you, it was very exciting and inspiring. Would you
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
just
yeah.
share with us a bit of that preparation for the journey? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Um, so I've been in this Ageless Wisdom for a while, and then like all of us, we started from just like reading a book, and then go to some meeting and courses,
Sure.
and then something happened like I would say like 5 years ago when I went to uh, Lucy's Trust headquarters in New York. During Wesak Day, I met somebody there, and then she mentioned about to learn ageless wisdom, you need to be integrated with the situation, and then pilgrimages is the best way to basically to genuinely understand the ageless wisdom. So since then, I try to go somewhere for the Wesak. The following year, after New York, I went to Borobudur in Indonesia, and then after that, the following year again, I went to Darjeeling, and then Ladakh, and then I went to Kailash, and then lastly, last year I went to Gobi Desert.
Okay.
And then
So-
interestingly,
I'm going to just, excuse me
but-
for
Mhm.
barging in, but
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just putting myself in the place of the listener or the
Yeah.
viewer who has never heard of Wesak or Ageless Wisdom
Ah.
or Darjeeling, or maybe you could
Okay.
just explain some of the terms and the geographical locations.
Yeah. So Wesak is almost like a Christmas of Buddhist. That's the day when the last reincarnate Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, basically like three events happened at the same time: born, enlightened, and then transitioning. And then it happened on the Taurus full moon. That's how the esoteric Buddhists celebrate it.
Yes, that means when the
And
sun is in Taurus, right? Not the moon.
correct,
The
yeah.
moon is
So
actually in
around
Scorpio and the sun is in Taurus. And so May usually.
correct,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. Like for the way we interpret it is like for Buddhists, um, full moon is reflecting the sun. That's why
Right.
we call like a Taurus full moon, but then happen around May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's Vesak. And then after that, what's the other one you want to know?
Well, you mentioned Ladakh and Darjeeling, I think, and Kailash, and these are place names that most people have never heard of.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the first one was like Borobudur. That's in Indonesia.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's an amazing temple there because not many people know that the main scholar that went to Tibet, they visited Indonesia first. Then they went to Tibet. The scholar name is Atisha. So if you're into Buddhist philosophy, you must know Atisha. And then Borobudur is a three-dimensional mandala, Kalachakra mandala, that interestingly get replicated a lot in Tibet. Because currently Indonesia is like ruled by the majority of like a Muslim. So the Buddhist culture is super repressed. Meanwhile, it's very, very rich. And then the more I know the foundation of Buddhism in Indonesia, the more I convinced that it's one of the important chain of the Buddhist philosophy and culture in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just a question. I know that more or less Buddha appeared like 500 years before Christ, and Muhammad about 500 years after Christ. So there was almost like 1,000 years difference. So at one point before Islam came on the scene, was Indonesia mostly Buddhist or Hindu, perhaps?
The beginning is Hindu.
Hindu, okay.
Hindu, yeah. And then after that, at one point, Buddhist together in parallel.
Right.
And then after that, slowly changed to Buddhist.
To Islam, you mean?
Yeah, so from Hindu, Buddhist, and then after that, Islam.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually, I just read the other day that the largest Muslim population of any country in the world is Indonesia, almost 300 million people there now.
It is, yeah.
Just behind the United States in population, and 90% or 95% are Muslim. Yeah. But there's still a Buddhist community then.
Yeah. Very little, like I would say 2%.
Yeah, and they're repressed, did you say, or suppressed?
No. Not repressed at all. No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Did you grow up in a Buddhist family, or did you find it?
Yeah. Actually, my father is a Buddhist. So since I remember, since I was a kid, my father took me for like a full moon prayer in the house.
Yes.
Since little kid until I left Indonesia, went to Canada.
Nice. Okay, so there's Borobudur in Indonesia, and then there's some old ancient connection with Tibet through the Buddhism.
So we're talking about the next trip, right?
Yeah.
So that's one Vesak. And then the following Vesak, like I want to know I believe my inner teacher. So when I learned Buddhism, I found a book written by Lama Govinda. And then I felt like very, very connected with him, with his teaching. And then at the same time, I'm a student of Arcane School in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did mention about my connect, like my feeling of connection with Lama Govinda. And then one of the leader from Arcane School mentioned that why don't you go to Darjeeling? Because Darjeeling is one of the planetary center according to Arcane School. And then there's like a hypothesis that Lama Govinda teacher, which is the Lama Domo Geshe the first, is indeed Master DK. So
You have to explain DK. What does that mean? What is ageless?
Mas-
What is the ageless wisdom? What are the teachings of the arcane school? People have
ah,
never heard of these. Most
okay,
people. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. So basically, ageless wisdom is a movement to unite uh, the philosophy of different um, spiritual. It started from Madame Blavatsky. If you ever heard Madame Blavatsky wrote Secret Doctrine,
Yeah.
Isis Unveiled,
Mm-hmm.
and then that book is agnostic, meaning that she's trying to synthesize uh, different philosophy from Kabbalah, from Hindu, um, from Buddhist, like
Yeah.
from many spiritual direction.
Right.
And then her approach is, she said that it's spirituality, philosophy is like going up to the mountain.
Mm.
So you can have like so many different sides of the mountain, but then as you go thread to the top of the mountain, it's becoming closer and closer to philosophy.
Mm.
And then that's what Madame Blavatsky aiming to learn the similarity, the
Yeah.
core of different philosophy.
Yeah.
And then Madame Blavatsky passed away, and then Alice Bailey is one of the, I would say the, the, the continuing,
Right.
uh,
The inheritors of that
but
legacy.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then actually she's the one that start to popularize the ageless wisdom.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then now
Right.
her school is the Arcane School.
The arcane school. Yeah. And she also
Mm.
has passed away. So,
Yeah.
so it's sort of like the esoteric part of all the great philosophies, spiritual philosophies and religions of history. That there's
Yes.
kind of a golden thread, the universal principles that connect them all, and
Yes.
they all had, their avatar, as they say in the East, Krishna, Buddha, Zoroaster, Christ,
Yep.
and now
Yeah.
Baha'u'llah, the Baha'i faith, is the most recent one.
Yeah.
And that the universal principles that you find in all of these teachings are really very similar. But in the social teachings, they change. But then there's a kind of, they call it the exoteric religion, and then the, what's the other one? Esoteric, yeah, meaning
Yeah.
the inner teachings. And
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so the Ageless Wisdom, as it's called, or the Arcane School, I guess, is the institution that teaches that. Could you give us just a little sample of something from that school that would be a little different for people, or give an indication of what it's like?
Yeah. I would say, okay, so going back to the ageless wisdom, which is trying to find the similarity between different philosophy.
Yeah.
One of the big thing in Arcane School is learning the archetype of three.
The what?
Archetype of three.
The
In
archetype.
Hindu, there is like a Brahma, Shiva, and then Vishnu.
Yeah.
In Christian, we have like a Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And then the same thing in Buddhist, like it tend to be like a three, like a three archetypes.
A threefold. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So like the big thing in Arcane School is to start to look at any spiritual philosophy starting from that archetype of three. That's one of the example that we try to do. So
Alright.
whenever we trying to understand something, go back to the archetype of three. Yeah.
Those three basic principles, I guess you'd say, of the divine or the infinite or the
Yep.
God, as some people call it, or Allah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then one specific thing that they're teaching also about the presence of three things that made up the manifestation. The
Right.
first one is humanity.
Yes.
The second one is hierarchy, and then the third one is Shambhala.
Ah.
We're going to talk about Shambhala later on
Right.
in
Right.
Gobi Desert.
Mongolia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
That word Shambhala. I think there was a movie called that a long time ago. A book, and some people have heard that. I think Shambhala. Oh, and there's also a publishing company called Shambhala that publishes some very interesting books. But what is hierarchy?
Yeah. So we have like a Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, right?
Okay.
So it is similar with, let's say in Hindu, we have like a Shiva, that representing the aspect of will.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have, so that would be Shambhala, the aspect of will, like a force or spirit. And then we have hierarchy. So that's the aspect of Vishnu, the nurturer, the one that guiding.
The sustainer, they call it too, right?
The sustainer, yes, yeah. So answering your question, hierarchy is like I would say like a group of people that sustaining humanity, the third aspect. So if we talk about like deities in Buddhism, we have Avalokiteshvara, we have Tara, or we have Jesus. They all belong to hierarchy because those are our guides.
Yeah.
And after that, the third one is the humanity. That's us. Like we are a group of people that experiencing and collecting impression for the divine.
Okay. Yeah. So if Shiva is the first principle, the will, and then the so-called hierarchy is the second, Vishnu, the sustainer aspect. So then the Brahma aspect would be humanity?
Humanity, yeah, the manifestation.
Okay. So like hierarchy, like if you look at Christianity, for example, you have a hierarchy in almost all the religions. So you got, for example, in the Catholic Church, it's not all of Christianity, but it's a big part. You got the Pope, right? Well, you've got Jesus, and beyond Jesus, there's God and the Father, whatever. And then there's the Pope. And then there's the Pope, you've got the cardinals. So there's 85 of them or something like that. And then under the cardinals, you've got the bishops, or the archbishops. And then there's the bishops, and then there's the priests. So you got about 6 layers of a hierarchy. And in government, we have the president or the king, and then you've got the ministers and the members of parliament and the Congress and so on. So there's a hierarchy everywhere, like in nature as well,
Yeah. In the
natural,
bank. Like I'm working with the bank. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
there's a
very
CEO.
much.
There's a VP, director, senior manager.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just an organization, right? And you find even in plants, and there's a hierarchy of the bottom feeders, and then you go up to. Okay. Yeah. So the hierarchy that you're talking about, though, it sounds I'm still a little sketchy regarding who are the members of this hierarchy and how are they different than the rank and file of humanity who are bumbling along on our spiritual path of life, trying to survive and make a living. Yeah. So who are these hierarchy? Who are they?
Yeah. Probably the easiest. Yeah, the easiest example is if I make an analogy with the soccer team. Okay. So you have like a individual player of the soccer team.
Right.
You can be like a goalkeeper. You can be the striker, defender. Okay. And then when this player still keeping their individuality, they're joining a team, let's say to get a cheer from the audience. Those are the humanity.
Mm.
So they're bringing their skill, they're bringing their diversity to play the game, basically. Okay. And then if you're able to become like a really really good soccer player, you will be taken to like a really really good soccer team. That when you play in that soccer team, you cannot think as an individual anymore.
Mm.
So you're still bringing your skill, individual skill, but then your mind is already connecting with the entire team.
Okay.
When the ball moving around, you know exactly what to do.
Right. Right.
So that would be the hierarchy. And then this hierarchy, the more the more better team player can be a mentor for junior player,
Okay.
right? So that's
Right.
the analogy.
Yes.
Yeah,
The ones with more experience and
more
skill.
experience, and then they already feel the unity of the group.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that would be the hierarchy.
So I like that when you talk about the kind of group consciousness, where
Mhm.
the individual temporarily lets go of their individual ego, hopefully, and
Yep.
personality,
Mhm.
so they subsume that into the
Yeah.
group consciousness, so that it's like the team is one
Yes.
mind and many bodies, and it's all working
Yes.
like parts of a
And still
system.
keeping the diversity.
Yes, of
Still
course.
keeping my individual
Yeah.
contribution, but
Right.
then my mind is a collective consciousness instead of
Right.
individual
Yeah.
consciousness.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the hierarchy.
Hmm. Yeah. Good. So there are certain individual human beings then that comprise the members of the hierarchy, or are they angels or disembodied masters or?
Yeah. Um, Pretty much people who already there's a like a awaken awaken in terms of
Okay.
they genuinely believe that they belong to that collective consciousness.
I see.
Those are the hierarchy.
And who gives them that? Who designates them or gives them that authority to call
Yeah, so
themselves
it's
a hierarchy member or whatever?
yeah, it's something that it's not given. Um, Later on, uh, I can share my own experience on this concept.
Yeah.
Basically, hierarchy is let's say like a society who already have that attribute. So if you don't have that attribute, you won't belong in that hierarchy.
Mm.
So it's not something that granted by high up, you get promoted. It's about your consciousness readiness.
I see. Okay. So it's like, I guess, that expression, when you're sometimes mentioning something, you say, oh, and you know who you are, right? You don't name the names, but those who have the consciousness, I suppose, or the experience, maturity, they sort of automatically graduate or they take on more responsibility, perhaps, in the management or the distribution of awareness and knowledge, play a bigger role. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've always been a little sorry for I'm sort of taking this out on you.
That's okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting, and I've always been just a little sketchy. I've never quite totally understood these terms, and other people that I know have been lifelong members of the students of the Ageless Wisdom, and they know so much. And it is very, very interesting to see how the teachings, the wisdom teachings, the mystery teachings of all the different cultures, as you mentioned, the Kabbalah, and then there's the Sufis, the indigenous peoples also have their mystery traditions, and how they're connected, really similar but different. Each one has its own color, or it shines a different aspect of the truth. So it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's like, call it like a different method.
Different method, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same aim, then different method.
Okay, basically. Right. So back to the pilgrimage to to the east, Kailash, Mongolia.
Yes. Yeah. So from Borobudur, I went to Darjeeling, and then from Darjeeling, I visited the the, the monastery where Lama Govinda and then Domo Geshe um, was teaching
Yeah.
back then. And then after that, the 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 head lama of the monastery mentioned to me that, oh, I get an inspiration when I was meditating that uh, you should go to Kailas during Virgo full moon. So around October, right? Virgo full moon.
Virgo, yeah, it would be, yeah, September.
Sorry, yeah, September. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was told by him to go there, and then after that I went to Kailas during the Virgo full moon, and then I got like a couple of experiences over there too. One of them is encountering that the one that I just mentioned, the genuine experience on what is a collective consciousness.
Uh-huh.
So basically, during the pilgrimage in Kailash, we have to make like circling around the tip of the Mount Kailash, and then it was a long journey. Like it takes about like 4 days to make a full circle,
Wow. Like a
and then
circumambulation.
yes, yeah,
We're all the
clockwise
way around, yeah.
circumambulation. Yeah,
Clockwise, yeah.
yeah. So it's a very tough journey because it's very high elevation, like 5,000.
Yeah.
So lots of people on the second day, if their uh, health is not not going well, then they have to go back. So what happened with me was like I used to hike a lot. So on the first 2 days, I was like cheering my group, let's move on, let's go. And then there are a couple people went back, and then on the third day, something happened to me that suddenly um, my health dropped so much. But then because I was already on the third post, I couldn't go back because it's already way too far.
You're already more than halfway around.
Yeah. So what happened was like my oxygen level suddenly dropped so much below 70%. That my breath becoming so shallow, and then I still know that I still have like a 12 hours to complete to arrive to the next station.
Yeah.
So basically, I had to walk very slowly, and then my body completely bankrupt, basically.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with my emotional body, because I doubt that I could complete this
Right. Yeah.
journey.
So anxiety, disappointment.
Yeah,
maybe.
anxiety. Well, it's already past anxiety that I completely just whatever happened. Basic surrendering.
All right. Well, that's good. Where you realize you don't have control over the matter anymore.
Exactly. I just hope for the best, basically.
Right.
The same thing with my mental body, because in the first couple of days, I was very cheerful, very healthy. I was chanting mantra all the way.
You were the cheerleader for the group, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. And on the third day, suddenly I crash, and then like basically I was put in a situation that I need to continue this pilgrimage in a complete surrender.
Yeah.
And then so I walk in that condition, and finally I reach like a tea house. And then when I arrived there, I met my group there, and then I told them that I was very tired. I need to rest. So basically, I laid down. I laid my head on my colleague lap, and then in that exhaustion condition, suddenly I was taken back into the journey when I was walking there. The interesting part was because my oxygen level was so low. Um, when I was walking very slowly, I start to hallucinate. I start to see like a strange creature on the floor, and then there's some weird being like meditating.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, like, wow, like
Mhm.
I'm really unhealthy. Like, this is so weird. And
Altered,
then I saw, Mhm.
altered state. You were in a
Yes,
altered.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then I
Well,
saw like a perfect geometry, like a stone, like a black stone. One is like a round, one is like a pyramid, one is like a perfect cube. And it was so real that I start to when the tour guide came to me, and I said, like, "What is this stone? Like they look like handmade." And then the tour guide said, "What stone?" And then I start to point it out, and then he said, like, "They cannot see." And then I said to myself, "Okay, I'm hallucinating. Better keep my mouth shut."
right.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
just going to pause for a minute. We're going into a
mhm,
lot of detail here, and
yeah,
we still have to do the Mongolia, which is sort of the
mhm,
big one at the end. And again, I'm just, people do pilgrimages. I guess you could call this a pilgrimage, right?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And, well, like the Muslims, they go to Mecca.
Yeah, yeah,
And Baha'is also have a pilgrimage to
mhm,
Haifa,
yeah.
the Baha'i World Center. And Christians, they have smaller
Mhm.
ones, but so it's a thing. It's an institution, right, where certain hardships are undergone. But
Yeah.
what would you say the purpose is? What was driving you to go to Borobudur and Indonesia, and then up to
Mm.
Mount Kailash? What was
Mhm.
the motivation for you to do that?
Um, for me, the main motivation was following my intuition.
Okay.
Yeah, because the intuition is so strong.
Yeah.
Um, I've been to Borobudur, and then I heard about Mount Kailash. It was very tough. But then when a little opportunity was given to me, I go for it. And then if I look back, the benefit of pilgrimage, and actually I recommend highly for any spiritual person to do pilgrimage,
Yeah.
is to gain the experience that you just mentioned. Basically, uh, in the metropolitan, we learn book, we go to the lecture, it's all like theoretical. But then when we are conducting pilgrimage, so many unexpected experience can happen to us, and then it can lead to like a genuine experience
Uh
that
huh.
you said to yourself, "Oh, now I understand whatever I
Right.
learned."
An insight or epiphany,
Right? Yeah,
realization. Yeah. So it's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like you plan a certain place, a trip, and you create the environment within which you, I guess, pay respect in a way, or maybe it's a
Mhm.
holy place, a shrine, or in this case, it's a mountain for
Yeah.
hundreds of years, and then you undergo certain hardships, usually hunger,
Mhm.
sometimes tiredness. There's the Camino
Yeah.
thing they do in Spain as well, right? Which is a
Mhm.
Christian one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the idea, I guess, is you're hoping that you're going to get some spiritual enlightenment, right, or understanding.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is when you are doing pilgrimage, especially to those hard uh, locations, like when you're going to like a mountain, you want to conquer. I don't know. You want to conquer Mount
Uh,
Everest. You want
right.
to, but then pilgrimage is the reverse. So when you go to those kind of places, you want to be completely open,
Let go.
and then It's the other way around. You want to be conquered by
Ah,
the journey.
beautiful. Yeah, I like that. So you're not out to
Mm.
conquer, but to be conquered.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
by the beauty, the spirit of the
By the experience, by
occasion,
the
the experience.
random event,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Well, it's needed because our Western, so-called Western civilization,
Mhm.
there's just so much grasping and coercion and force and this desire, to control, to own, to acquire,
Mhm.
to dominate, and it's really leading the world into a very dangerous place for humanity and the whole planet, even.
Yeah.
So that idea of learning how to let go and let God, as they say, but it's hard because
Mhm.
the ego, which we all have, is very powerful.
Mhm.
Talk about
Yeah.
grasping and
Yeah.
yeah,
The thing is, when it happened to you, when it's meant to be, like what I just told you before, when
yeah,
I let myself to be conquered by my Kailash, my ego get crushed.
yeah.
That's like the
Well, you're
oxygen level drop down.
uh,
It's something that I cannot control anymore.
right. You reached
Mhm.
almost like a breaking point, and
Right.
you couldn't control it anymore. So you just had to
Yeah.
stay alive. Do your best to stay alive.
Yes.
Go slowly and hope.
Yeah.
The
I was
mercy.
forced. Yeah.
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 I've seen pictures of Mount Kailash. It's amazing. It almost looks like a
Mhm.
pyramid, right? Like four sides.
It is. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
people go there, especially the Tibetan people, I guess, and Buddhist people, at certain times to do that circumambulation.
Yeah, yeah. It's a multi-religion. We have like a
Right.
Hindu,
Oh yeah.
Buddhist, Jain, and
Oh, okay.
then there's like a shamanic
Yes.
Tibetan as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to share an office with. I was practicing psychotherapy and body work as well, and I shared an office with a Japanese acupuncturist,
Mm,
Junzo. Yeah, Junzo Kokubo. He just passed away a few months ago,
mm,
but
mm,
he had a beautiful big. It was a photograph of a trip he made. I think it was to Mount Kailash. He's way up high in the mountains, and
mhm.
you can see the mountain in the distance.
Yeah.
And he's with some of the local, I guess, Nepalese or Tibetan people.
Mhm,
And right, so I remember when I wanted to go to Mongolia, 1987. I finally got permission. It was very
mhm,
hard to get there. It was still under the Soviet thumb,
mhm.
and so it was hard for foreigners to visit there.
Yeah, I
A
can imagine.
yeah, a few people got in, but they were very closely watched and controlled, and they could only go to certain
Yeah.
places. But finally, after a year and a half of trying, I studied the singing, the overtone singing, which is famous
Mhm,
from there, Humi, and was in touch with the Canadian government and the emissary from
mhm,
Mongolia to the United Nations. Anyway, to make a long story short,
mhm,
finally
mhm.
got permission and also an invitation to attend a congress of Mongolists, and was fortunate to receive a grant from the Canadian government. It was called the
Mhm.
Explorations Department, to go and study
Yeah.
the vocalization techniques of Mongolian folk music. So it was an
Yes.
amazing. I was
It's
only there
amazing.
for 3 weeks,
Mhm.
but anyway, that's another whole story. But I have some pictures now. After we finished the recording,
Mhm.
um, when I post it onto Substack, I'm going to write a little bit of a description of our conversation underneath.
Sure.
And I think you have a few photographs. Maybe you could send me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
and
send you.
I'll include a couple of those and maybe a couple from my own
Yeah.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did the Mongolian thing? What was the attraction to Mongolia?
Um, yeah. So I mentioned before, I was guided from a lama from Darjeeling to go to
Hmm.
Kailash in the full moon. And then at the same time, when I was waiting in Nepal, there's another lama came to me and told me that I should go to Mongolia.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like a chain reaction, basically.
Yeah, it's like those llamas are all in cahoots, right? It's like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
it's like they're seeing something that you're not seeing yet, but
Yes, yeah, yeah.
maybe
It's a very, very interesting experience because those two lama, one is in Darjeeling, the other one is in Kathmandu. Uh, they spot me from very, very far away, and then I spot him also.
uh-huh. How do
Yeah.
you mean
So
in your
basically,
dreams? You mean or your
no,
visualization?
no, it's just a completely eye contact.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I get into the temple, I went with my group. There are like 12 of them. I was looking around, and then we had a eye contact with one lama. And then when eye contact happened, he just approached me right away.
uh-huh.
And then the way it works, it's exactly the same uh, in Darjeeling and then in Kathmandu.
Mm.
Yeah, very interesting
Right.
experience.
Yeah, as almost as if they recognized on some level that there was something that needed to transpire between them and you,
Yeah.
something
Mhm.
that needed to be said or learned or shared.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
Yeah,
And you, I guess, through this process, were becoming more and more sensitive yourself, open to that
yeah,
kind of sensibility or perception.
yep. I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I noticed that. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I met that Kathmandu Lama asked me to go to Mongolia, and then after that I did some research, and then actually I bumped into you. uh,
Yeah, right.
we talked in the email, and then you gave me like coordinates based on your work with Philip Lindsay, and
Yeah.
then that's very, very valuable because it, I didn't know Mongolia, and Mongolia is like so fast, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I pick like a travel company who can take me to the specific monastery that you guided me, and then uh, yeah, yeah, it happened. Unlike your experience, I think Mongolia became republic in 1990.
Hmm.
So my visa arrangement is way easier
Yeah.
than yours.
All right.
So I went there, and I find it like it's amazing because it's like going to African safari, but then very very cheap. So basically, I booked a private tour. It cost me like 100 Canadian a day,
Yeah.
all inclusive,
Oh,
including car, lodging, and food.
it's pretty
So
good.
it
Yeah.
extremely like
Wow.
extremely
That's
reasonable.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I could I could ask the driver and then the guide to take me to the location.
Hmm.
So you guided me to go to Khamir Kit.
Yeah.
So that's basically that is the Shamballa monastery, and then after that to Demchok. And then when I was there, I I bumped into Saprolama again, and then they mentioned that if you go to Kamrin and then Demchok, you have to go to the third one because there's always three. Then in my head, like, oh my gosh, that's the Architect 3 again, you know.
Right.
And then what is the other one? They said like a Ologate, and I never heard Ologate. And then when I talked with the driver, I said like, oh, actually Ologate is like we can go there. Um, so yeah, I visited the three monasteries there.
Three monasteries, because when the communists took over, I
Hmm.
think the first communist revolution was 1941, um, and at that time it was basically a Lamasic or Lamaistic society. Like
Mhm.
60% of all the men in Mongolia were monks.
Yeah.
Now, they were able to marry and have families and had little
Mhm.
farms and so on, but they were part of the Buddhist hierarchy, I guess you might say,
Yeah.
associated with monasteries and so on. So that whole life was just wiped out by the communists.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
had been hundreds or even thousands of monasteries throughout Mongolia. And I think when I arrived, there were only like 3 or 4 that had been left standing.
Yeah.
Maybe five or six, but very, very few. There was one in Ulaanbaatar that they sort of kept open with a few monks just for tourists, to show.
Yep. Yeah. I was there.
You were okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
And at that time, you were not allowed to be a Buddhist. You could be a student of Buddhism,
Hmm.
which you, if you wanted to study it academically, there was something called the
Yeah.
Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace, but you couldn't call yourself a Buddhist. It was outlawed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But since the fall of communism, the Buddhism has had a comeback, and also I have a friend there, Erden. I wish I'd known when you were going to go, and I could have given you his contact. He lives in Ulaanbaatar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's working on an energy project, natural renewable resources in the Gobi Desert. And
Hmm.
anyway, uh, but he also subscribes, you might say, to the religion or the philosophy of Genghis Khan, which they call the big blue sky or something like that. But it's
Yeah.
kind of a spiritual teaching, and so that has come back also, that
Yeah.
practice, and as well as Buddhism. And,
Yeah.
right, so the Shambhala, according to the Ageless Wisdom, I think even Blavatsky hints that in the Gobi Desert,
Hmm.
part of which is in Mongolia and part of which is in China, Inner Mongolia as it's called, it's a province
Hmm.
of China, um, that there is an actual location, but that the actual Shambhala, which is the spiritual center, is not on the physical plane. It's not like a village with cows and houses, but
Hmm.
it's on the etheric plane, um, which is, well, it's part of the physical plane, but it's invisible to the naked eye. So it's like
Hmm.
there's the subtle plane,
Yeah.
like our etheric body, the one that has the chakras and all that kind of stuff, and
Hmm.
prana, as the Indians say, or the chi energy. That's
Yeah.
the etheric body. So that on the etheric plane, there is a center there where some
Hmm.
of the wise initiates and teachers live in their etheric body,
Hmm.
and that maybe someday it will manifest, it will exteriorize into the dense physical plane, but for now. But anyway, yeah, there's supposed to be 3 places there, 3 possible exact spots. And I remember I had maps out and was, as you say, the coordinates, longitude and latitude.
Hmm.
But it
Hmm.
sounds like quite an adventure, that you're the spiritual seeker. You go off to the end of the world, the Himalayas and Mongolia, looking for this connection with a lineage of transmission or spiritual teachings that you
Hmm.
feel attracted to and connected with, and you
Yeah.
want to have more of I guess, a hands-on experience. Like you were saying, you read the books, you go to the classes, discussions and meetings and so on, but
Hmm.
a pilgrimage really sort of takes you into the land,
Yeah.
the mountains and the lakes or whatever, and the weather, sometimes the freezing weather.
Yeah.
So it wakes you up in a way that reading a book doesn't necessarily.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right. So, what's next? I mean, Kailash, Mount Kailash, Mongolia, maybe extraterrestrials the next step.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Or the bottom of
Um,
the sea, or Antarctica.
yeah.
They say that they're starting, well, some people say below the ice there are cities, ancient cities that,
Hmm.
and even warmer temperature and all kinds of things to be discovered, as the ice melts and the global warming,
Hmm.
that we're going to find
Hmm.
these ancient treasures in Antarctica,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
frontier.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, like I don't have any unlike the previous pilgrimages, I always get like a clue. But then after this Gobi, I didn't get any clue at all. So I have to find it my own. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe spend some time assimilating, studying your dreams and assimilating the experiences you've had.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just
Right.
want to add one thing. Uh, because we're talking about like when you are going to pilgrimage, you want to be conquered, right?
Hmm.
So going back to the Kailash, basically I was bankrupt, and then after that, I get introduced to um, an experience that basically I went into a society
Yeah.
where um, nobody's speaking, but everybody listening. And then
Hmm.
the conversation is all about love.
Hmm.
Um, and then I was sobbing, I was crying. That's when I go back to the tea house when I was laying down on
Yeah.
my friend's lap. I was
Right.
sobbing there.
Uh,
So that's the Kailash experience.
yeah.
And then when I went to Gobi Desert, in the first monastery, and then that's right on the Waisak full moon.
Yes.
Um, I stayed in a yurt, yurt, right? The tent.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, the local people, they put so much heating so that the yurt is extremely hot.
Hmm.
And then on the night when that happened, um, I was so hot and I felt burning all over my body. And then I get that the same experience like in Kailash again. Basically, I surrender myself, and then I felt like I was in the overheated sauna. I could feel like sweat drip on my toes, and then somehow I got taken back to the same society uh, where I experienced in Kailash. The difference is like this at this time in Gobi, um, I was able to express my voice.
Uh-huh.
In Kailash, I just been an observer,
Okay.
and then the when I try to express my voice, it's like how can I be in the society? And then my inner voice saying that I wasn't ready because like because you are here like in the society as your individual Daniel. Like
Right.
you will be here when you come here as a collective consciousness. So
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about the soccer team, you know,
Okay.
when you're already able to play the ball so good, and then after that you're able to put your personal consciousness away so that you can join in the international soccer team level, that you can telepathically talk to each player
Yeah.
how to play the ball, then you will be belong to that soccer team.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the going back to our conversation about the hierarchy.
So when you were
So
in the yurt sleeping and they turned the heat up, or
mhm,
you got so hot, you were sweating, it was too hot. It sort of
mhm.
almost took you into a kind of an altered state, right? Your
Correct.
consciousness,
Yeah.
and you felt
Yeah.
that maybe the circle had come full turn. And whereas
Mhm.
before you were supposed to just listen and be quiet, but this time
Yeah.
you were getting closer to being able to express your
Mhm.
authentic voice.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the major thing that I get from this trip is the understanding about your question. What is hierarchy?
What question?
What is your question about what is hierarchy?
The
Like
hierarchy. Okay.
how can we move up from humanity to hierarchy, basically?
Right. So, what's the answer then? Just to clarify your
Yeah.
insight
So the
around that.
answer is like when I can bring my uniqueness as Daniel,
Yeah.
but then when I join the society, uh,
Hmm.
I'm no longer bringing my individual
Yeah.
Daniel, but
Right.
I became one
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
entire
Right. Right. Okay.
society consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
That
you
everybody connect to each other, basically.
right. Well, because we all are one, whether
Yeah.
we know it or not, or whether we want to admit it or not. People put so much energy into trying to prove the opposite, that we're all separate and divided, But actually, at the end of the day, everybody's going to discover we're all one, the unity of the human race. So yeah, when we can surrender our ego enough, I mean, we need to have an ego. It's useful, but
Yeah.
to be able to
For the
surrender it.
diversity. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But when the personality, that threefold personality, like the body, the emotions, and the mind, can be a servant to the soul or the higher self, then we can surrender the personality, including the ego, and join that oneness, that society, as you call it, or that social unity and oneness. And then we can find what is our particular voice or words that we can find to teach or to use or to help, in service, rather than the ego talking blah 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 blah. The soul begins to speak. And that's a lot of the work I do with my psychotherapy and so on is around the helping people find their authentic voice and dialogue, being able to use that enhanced vehicle or instrument in authentic dialogue, in like a meeting or a consultation or a negotiation, even, to come from the higher place. And when I went to Mongolia, actually, I was studying the harmonic singing that they do there. Maybe I'll just give you a little demonstration of the, they call it humi sometimes, or just overtone singing, and they've been doing it for generations. And I have a little Tibetan bowl here. I like to ring. And so the idea is there's a bass note, or whatever, like the foundation, and then up above there's a high, one of the harmonics. Those of you who know music, there's a harmonic, like an octave, and then a perfect fifth, perfect fourth, a major third, and so on. And it goes up higher and higher and higher, little tiny vibration. So I'm not that good at it, but I tried to learn it a bit there. And so maybe you could just close your eyes as if you're going to do a little meditation, take a deep breath, and you might hear a little buzzing sound or a very high tone vibrating above the fundamental note. When I do that, I get stoned for a little while afterwards. It feels so nice. Cheap high. Doesn't need ayahuasca or right. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for joining me and our friends, the subscribers. So, is there any? If people want to follow up on your journey, do you have a website or anything? Email that you'd like people to contact you, or maybe, or not, depending.
I'm actively involved with Toronto Theosophy. So the best way to contact me is just to contact Toronto Theosophy. I'll be there.
The Toronto Theosophical Society.
Right. So if you Google Toronto Theosophical Society,
right,
you can get
I'll put that at the bottom of underneath the video. And I believe you gave a little talk there on your Mongolian pilgrimage, right? Recently. Right. Yeah, they have like usually once a month, different speakers. Very interesting. And that's sort of part of the legacy of Blavatsky and Alice Bailey and that whole lineage of esoteric teachings
Mm-hmm.
and Hinduism and Buddhism. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, namaste. And what do the Buddhists say when they want to say hallelujah?
We don't have any work. Just peace be with you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New
All
Year.
right.
Thank you so much, you.
You too, Daniel. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
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 Bye now.
Bye bye.